Alun Francis has done the most delightful article in the Financial Times looking at the shifting nature of social unrest in the UK. And we need to look at this, moving from urban race-related issues in large cities to a broader, more geographically dispersed tension linked to immigration, economic deprivation in smaller towns and seaside resorts. And his central argument highlights the growing divide in social mobility, particularly among the white British poor, who are increasingly left behind in this new economy. Francis emphasises two critical issues. Firstly, the clustering of disadvantage in areas where private sector investment has evaporated or never even visited, leaving communities reliant on welfare and public services. And secondly, the particular struggles of the white British underclass, who, unlike other ethnic groups, are less likely to see educational and occupational mobility. He calls for a more nuanced, place-based approach to policy that goes beyond simplistic solutions like two-child benefit cap or the reinstatement of Sure Start, arguing instead for a focus on economic growth that genuinely connects with and uplifts disadvantaged communities. I think he should add to that a more educational option to be energized from the internet. The discussion ties into broader frustrations evident in British society as figures like Nigel Farage, Douglas Murray, Isabel Oakeshott and Tommy Robinson have capitalised on these economic and social grievances. They often channel the anger of those who feel abandoned by traditional political structures, directing it towards anti-immigration sentiment and nationalist rhetoric. This dynamic is dangerous because it only exacerbates social division, and it also distracts from addressing the root causes of social division. He says a recent Institute for Fiscal Studies analysis established a link between access to early years study, early years centres and improved GCSE grades. This is encouraging, but it was only significant for non-white children. Make schools more responsive to the under-resourced is another simplistic solution. We can't simply take simplistic solutions, and I think we can't see school as starting at this particular age and finishing at that particular age. We need to see education as a more holistic bandwagon that you can leap on at any time. And that is point one. And point two, as job mobility becomes the norm, we need to see job mobility and educational mobility as two hands on the same body, as two limbs of the same way forward. And we need to make education, we need to make learning a lifelong pursuit, and to make it easy to access. Francis's perspective suggests that while frustrations in these communities are legitimate, the solutions proposed by populist figures are misguided, and he's right. And I've talked continually about the difference between a problem and a solution. And to reject the solution is not to reject the problem outright. Although you wouldn't realise that looking at some of the rather misguided comments and some of the extremely abusive comments that some commentators have made to other people who are kind enough to leave their thoughts. Whether I agree with those thoughts or not is neither here nor there. But I pointed out to one or two individuals that I will not tolerate any longer nastiness to others on these pages. And for the first time, I've actually blocked somebody, which I finally learned how to do it. And it was because this person was being particularly abusive to somebody else, and had been warned. I had warned them before, but it took a good hour to try and work out how to do it. Francis's call in the article for an approach that integrates economic innovation with community-focused interventions could, if heeded, help mitigate the very frustrations that populists exploit. But I think that won't be efficacious without education and educational resources. We need to get out of the mindset that school and university and college are part of a particular life direction which is age limited. It shouldn't be. And certainly with the internet, we don't need to be engaging adults in courses in schools. We should be able to enroll people in courses online. We should be able to use Zoom and indeed to offer tailor-made education with diplomas which have resonance, and both in the workplace and for the individual, and tailor-made courses which can be dropped around a busy schedule. Without significant political will, without investment, the cycle of disadvantage will persist. I should say also, without innovation, without imagination, the cycle of disadvantage will persist. And leaving the door open for further exploitation by divisive figures is inevitable if that cycle persists. We need to change it. We need to do something dramatic. We need to seize the initiative. We need to offer reality, not simply rhetoric.